I have pink hair now. But for today's video, I want to talk about something that has absolutely nothing to do with my hair, which is graduation. So recently I officially graduated and I'm a Bachelor of English and American Studies now. That one. But I really have to say it is too bad that this piece of paper is kind of useless at the moment. This thing is definitely not gonna get me a job or, help me decide what my next steps are gonna be. So after graduating high school, most of us already at least have a plan of what to do next. College. But what happens after college? And I feel so lost now that I finally have my bachelor's degree. I just don't really know what to do with my life now. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. Finding a job after college can be stressful enough already. And if you're like me and you don't even know what kind of job you want to do, then this video is definitely for you. Number one, if you still live with your parents, maybe think about moving out. I know living at home is great. You get food, you get laundry done, it's cheap. Usually there's always someone there that you like, more or less. You're never alone. But living at home also really has some limitations. And I know for many recent graduates, money is usually the main factor as to why they want to stay at home instead of moving out. But trust me, it is something that you might want to invest in. Even if it's just a tiny apartment that you can rent out for yourself, it has honestly been such a game changer for me. It's just about having your own space that is like your safe comfort zone, but also a space that you are entirely responsible for. It's great. And I might be crazy here, but I kind of love the feeling of knowing that the fridge will only have food if I buy it, and the place will only be clean if I actually get my ass off the couch and clean it. It really makes me feel like an adult in a way, but also it just kind of teaches me that I'm the only one who can take care of myself. When I got sick for the first time in my apartment, I had no one to take care of me, and I had to survive somehow. It wasn't fun, but it was definitely important for me to learn how to do that. But what I love the most about living by myself is that I just have this safe space now to explore what I want to do and what I love. For a lot of people, they want to, for example, get away from the countryside, get away from toxic family members, and I had a tiny bit of that as well, but for me, most of all, it was because I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. I'm 100% sure that if I had stayed at home at my parents' place, I would have never gotten a professional recording setup to record my anime covers with. I would have also never really gotten my streaming set up or even started making YouTube videos. When I was still living at home, I was constantly afraid of my family members hearing what I do and just kind of judging me for it behind the walls, so I never actually did anything that would require me to make any noise. Most of all, I don't think I would have had the guts to talk to myself in front of a camera. So for me personally, the most important reason why I really wanted to move out was because I just wanted to explore myself and do things I would have never dared to do at home. Alright, it is time to talk about money. My very favorite topic in the whole world. All I can really say is save it. Save as much as you can. Work some part-time jobs and don't spend money on useless things. Even if you have a job right now or some kind of other constant income, if that is not the thing you might want to do in the future, save most of the money you make. Don't spend too much money on things you don't actually need. Finding out what you actually want to do with the rest of your life might really take a while, and you want to have time to explore. And how do you make time to explore? You have to create a buffer for yourself. So save up that money so you can actually allow yourself to do different jobs, maybe do internships, maybe just work on your own projects on your own time. But you will need money to survive during that exploration phase. And especially once you find what you want to actually do with your life, having money is going to be so important. Let's say one day you wake up and you realize, oh, I want to be an artist. If you're not yet at a level where people want to buy your art, you will have to take a long time to improve and actually get better at your craft in order to make money off of that. But during that learn period, you need to survive somehow. So please save up a lot of the money that you make right now because you will definitely need it later. And that actually means that you might want to try to live in a very frugal lifestyle. I think most people have this mindset of, oh, I'm not a student anymore. I have a job now, so I can afford all these nice things. I advise you not to do that. I think if you're not yet in the career path that you actually want to pursue later on, it might be best to just kind of keep living the lifestyle of a student for as long as possible. Because that extra money you're saving will give you so much more freedom to actually pursue what you want to do later. So what I want you to spend money on is traveling. Obviously, this is all about considering what is actually feasible for you and your financial situation, but travel as much as you can. Even if it's just a road trip with your friends. Obviously, right now, COVID is making things a bit more difficult when it comes to traveling, but once it's safe to travel again, make sure to do that as much as possible. Although I hate it when people say, explore new horizons. I mean, that's kind of what you do when you travel. Because you're forcing yourself to see the world from a different perspective, geographically and also just mentally. And wherever you travel, keep in mind to be open-minded. Try everything you can. Try every new food, try every new activity, try talking to as many people as possible. You will not regret it. Personally, this is kind of the path I'm choosing right now because I'm moving to Japan soon. And although I kind of know what I'm getting myself into since I've been to Japan a few times, it is still such a huge new challenge for me to permanently move to a different country where I don't speak the language perfectly and I just don't really have that big network that I have here in Austria. It might be super difficult at first and I'm probably gonna get very lonely, but I'm just really excited for all the new things I'll learn. Okay, next point. So now I want to talk about relationships. So if you just graduated, you're most likely in your early to mid 20s, just like me. And your 20s are a crazy time. I'm sure there's a lot of people in your life that are just, getting engaged, getting married, having kids, and you might feel like you're left out. But please, 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 please don't give in to the peer pressure and settle for the first person you meet. Dating for the sake of dating is never a good idea. If you're lonely, go get a cat. Don't get a partner. This is just my personal opinion, but I think that getting into a relationship should always be an organic thing. If you've been single for a long time and you just really want to get into a committed relationship, please be careful that you just don't settle for someone who's actually not the right fit for you. I think this is kind of a trap that a lot of people fall into because they really crave that attention, they crave the affection, but from my experience, the more you try to force it, the less successful you're gonna be. Being alone is so much better than being with a toxic person. And if you're not sure what you want to do in life, if you're kind of trying to find yourself, honestly, being single is the best thing you can do. Of course, if someone comes along that's a really good match for you, then great, that's awesome. But please make sure that your relationship isn't just shackling you down and preventing you from doing the things that you might want to do. For example, when I was younger, I was dating this guy and I thought, okay, but I kind of want to go to Japan. So what do? I want to be with this person, but I also want to go to Japan. And I seriously considered giving up my dream of going to Japan just to not be apart from that person. And he dumped me after a month. And that just kind of goes to show that a romantic relationship is not really worth it if you have to give up your dreams in order to be with that person. Let's move on to health. Being young is great. You're kind of invincible. When I was 20 years old and I went to Japan, I used to drink alcohol almost every single day. And I had no hangovers, no nothing. I felt awesome. But now, I feel my 30s creeping up. After a long night out, I'm completely useless the next day, and even the next day after that as well. And even if I'm not partying, I still have knee pains, neck pains, shoulder pains, back pains, and I'm 23. So even if it seems like you're invincible now, please take care of your body. And I'm not saying never drink alcohol or eat a cheeseburger. Do whatever you want to do, but maybe do so in moderation. It also helps to just adapt some healthy habits for your body, like exercising a few times a week, drinking enough water, being aware of your diet, and you have to stay realistic with those things because obviously if you shoot too far, you're just gonna fail. But having like a base minimum of a healthy lifestyle can really do wonders. And oh, I almost forgot. Please, for the love of God, get your health checkups done. When was the last time you went to the dentist? Go make an appointment. So taking care of your body is very essential, but taking care of your mind, I would think, is even more important. You really only have two assets in your life that will always be there and that can never be replaced. One is your body, and the other one is your mind. Your mind literally decides how happy of a life you live, and I would assume that you want to be happy, right? I know, a lot of people still think that mental health is not as important as physical health, but they are wrong. For the love of God, I know it's expensive, but if you have any unresolved trauma or depression or anxiety or anything, please invest in therapy. Mind and body are your most important assets. And if your body is actually broken in some capacity, if you have a broken leg, you also go to the hospital. So please do the same for your mind. Another great way of taking care of your mind is to actually feed your brain with good things, with new things that you want to learn, with positive things, not with social media, comparing yourself to others and, bad news that just make you feel depressed all day. So be aware of what kind of content you consume on the daily and what you put into your brain. And we have arrived at the last point. Okay, so this is a really, really big one. If you are in your 20s and you do not know what to do with your life, you need to do two things. One, experiment. Try as many things as you can. You will stick with something. And two, ask yourself, am I happy? If you answer this question sincerely, you will instinctively know what to do with the rest of your life. Because if you do something and you're not happy, then move on to the next thing. Your 20s are the best time for you to just kind of experiment as much as you can, try many different things, and just kind of reflect on what things make you happy. Life is not static. It changes all the time, and you're changing all the time. 2 years ago, I really wanted to get into streaming, and I love doing it. And now I'm kind of feeling like, okay, I don't know how much longer I'll be streaming on Twitch. I want to kind of focus more on YouTube right now. And that's perfectly fine. You just need to keep asking yourself every single day, over and over, am I happy doing what I do? And if the answer is no, probably time to try something new. If you keep experimenting and asking yourself whether you're happy doing what you do, I'm sure you'll find something that will actually stick.